Welcome to another very special edition of the Prep Zone on DMV Stream. I'm John Moore, joined as always with Rob Giampapa. We're Rebel Run Sports, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. David Huckestein, the new Director of Student Activities at Colgan High School, set to open this fall. Welcome.
Thank you.
So David, kind of tell us about yourself. How have you gotten to this point?
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to the beginning of my teaching. It was more of, I started teaching at Woodbridge High School. I was an assistant basketball coach there. Very successful program. I left Woodbridge in '98 and moved on to be my own head coach of a varsity basketball team, boys, at Stonewall Jackson. In the middle there, I was also a half of the year. I was an interim athletic director at Woodbridge High School as we were phasing. One gentleman got a job and getting ready to hire someone else. Went to Stonewall Jackson, and after my 2 years as a basketball coach, I ended up getting into administration, and when the principal left, next thing you know, I'm the principal of Stonewall Jackson for 4 years, and I had the opportunity to move back to Woodbridge High School where it all started, and I had been there for 8.5 years.
Very cool.
Which leads me into this job where I just wanted to, after almost 14 years as a principal, try and close out my career doing something, just making a change. And this opportunity came up. It's right around the corner from my home. The principal, Dr. Healy, he and I worked at Woodbridge together, and he was also a coach, so it was just a great fit.
Great.
Well, tell us a little bit about the differences being a principal as opposed to being a DSA. What are some of the differences there?
Well, first of all, as you know, I'm in this school is just starting, so we're starting everything fresh. So I haven't got into the nitty-gritty of the every night affair with the games and the fans and making sure officials are there. But from the outside looking in as a principal, I think a lot is on a principal's shoulders these days, and you just kind of wear that on yourself year after year. You're basically in charge of a city at the campus. And go home and you start worrying about different things. And maybe I'm hoping as an athletic director, when I go home, I worry about the fields and the players, the student athletes, the coaches, and there's not this big responsibility on my shoulders anymore. But I will care and work all I can to make sure that Colgan is the best athletically.
Okay.
You have a unique opportunity coming into a new high school to kind of put your own stamp on what the school is going to be known for athletically. Well, not just athletically, but overall.
Overall, right.
Talk about the excitement of that, and what's your kind of vision, as far as the athletic department? How do you want the school to be known?
Well, let's talk about the process. Dr. Healy has done a great job working with the community itself, getting students involved in the community, getting parents involved, but more importantly, he's involved the students in a lot of aspects of whether it was looking at the different logos and the different nicknames for the school. He's allowed the students to get involved in that, which that's how Sharks came about. I know you want to talk about that a little later, but he's also got them involved in some of the color patterns were already in the building at the time. So he's got the kids maybe choosing a third color. He had them do that. So the kids are excited. I'm working with the Booster Club from ground up. So think about all these things. You don't think about. You're starting a Booster Club from ground up.
Right.
Everything you're doing is basically from the ground up, things that you take for granted. But as far as athletic and as we move forward, I really want us to be, and I tell the coaches this because a lot of them ask me, well, what do you want us to be? What kind of coach do you want? And I want the kids to be in a respectful program. I want the kids to behave and act properly on the field. Wins and losses. Wins are great. If you're a winning team, that's awesome. But in these first 3 or 4 years, I want that to see the building blocks, right. and eventually, I want to become I want all our programs to be very good. Honestly, I just want to be able to. I want to not only compete, but I want to win and compete for district and region and state titles, and no pressure on the coaches, but that's what we're
right.
in the next few years. It'll be rough in the get-go
Sure.
here, but hopefully after the 3 or 4 years, we're going to start competing in all sports.
Good.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the building from ground up. Where do you start? As a DSA walking in, where do you start? Do you start with the colors? Do you start with the logo? Where do you start to build the athletic department?
Okay, so I got on board right after the holidays, so right around January 4th. So if you think about it, the first thing I did when I walked in the door, we had color scheme.
Okay.
I think the kids were getting ready to pick the third color. We had the nickname at the time. So my job, basically, when I walked in was a twofold. One is to I actually sent an email, even though the VHSO members knew me from being a principal, told them what I was doing as a DSA. I sent my name and to the officials, all the officials said, hey, I'm the new DSA. And from there, to be honest with you, you had a deadline of 3 weeks to order uniforms for fall to get a discount so we could, save some money right
Sure.
off the get-go. So the first 2 or 3 weeks was the uniforms, getting them all marked up, getting them ready to go for all the fall sports, and then right after that, immediately after that, it was the equipment for the fall sports.
Wow.
So and then as soon as the equipment was finished, I was rolling into interviews, and I chose to interview, basically taking I basically took the Band-Aid and ripped it off and just said I'm taking the next week and a half and we're going to interview for all of our sports, and it just meant long days and nights and weekends, but I think it was worth it at the end. So and then after that, what I've been doing is working with each coach now for the winter season and starting to, we're going to start rolling into that as well. But and then, of course, you're now creating your schedule for the next year, and now you're the school on the outside looking in because it's the second year of a cycle, and you're trying to get your games in where you can. You're basically in down our way. And everybody's bye week now is Colgan High School.
Sure.
So and making sure we just finished our fall schedules. We just finished our winter schedules and for next year. So that's about as far as we got in there. And then of course DSAs, bless them. As a principal, I understood what they do. When you sit in that seat and you see that you're putting all these schedules into one program, and then the officials want it in another program, and it's just so it's tedious at times, but I'm enjoying it.
Good. Rivalries, huge in high school. We
Yes.
focus a lot on rivalries in what we do.
Right.
Now rivalries, as we know, are born on the field, and those will come.
Right.
But as far as proximity to the school, who's the crosstown school rivalry? That'll be the natural rival, I guess.
Well, I'm going to probably guess. We're closer to Hilton High School and Forest Park High School, but a majority of our students are coming from Osborne Park High School.
Okay.
So I would guess that would be some sort of a natural rivalry, albeit they may not be they're not in our conference this next year, and when we flip back to calling them districts the following year,
Right.
they probably won't be in our district either, but we'll be playing them. So I would say at some point Hilton, maybe Forest Park in the future.
Cool.
Well, and you're going into a conference with a lot of history,
Right.
some that you're familiar with from Stonewall and
Yes.
Woodbridge. What is your goal for next year?
Well, all of our sports except football, we play in a varsity schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's tough out of the get-go, and I've watched all these schools. I've watched Hilton when it opened up. I've watched the Patriots and the Battlefields open up. I know it's difficult at first, but after that first year or two, you see that in improvement. You could see, I wouldn't be shocked if we're competitive in a few sports next year. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I really do think we're going to be competitive in certain sports. And it is nice that football starts out with a JV and a freshman schedule.
Right.
Okay.
Talk about the community outreach a little bit. How's that process going, and the importance, obviously, of the community embracing the new school?
I think not only that the kids are excited, I think the community is excited about this school. anytime there's change, anytime there's something new, I see our community embracing this new school. I see it just in boosters alone. I had put a survey online. It was an Excel survey asking kids what sport they're interested in, to give me please put their name down, give me their contact information. Then I had a section for parents and see who would want to be involved in Booster Club. And
Right.
I think I had over 70 to almost 80 parents sign up that they were interested in some way or form with the Booster Club. And that's really unheard of, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So you could see that excitement in our core. I have a core Booster Club membership right now, the steering committee. Tonight's our first meeting, inviting another 60 members or so in. When they saw the logo, they all got excited. You know, the logo just sort of has appeared. It hasn't come up on our Twitter page, I don't think yet. But they got the sneak peek, and they were all just excited. And their kids are sitting at another school right now, and they're all
Right.
active members at some of the other schools
Sure.
on their
Right.
booster clubs. So I know that the parents are excited. And I know Dr. Healy's also working with a parent advisory group, and he's had a number of parents sign up for that as well. So it's just, to me, it's exciting. It has been rejuvenated me as an administrator.
Cool. So what are the school colors? We know you're the Sharks. What are the school colors?
So the school colors were kind of we have to call it, for our uniform purposes, we'll call it navy blue and kind of a gray, okay? And then the kids added in if you look on the website, it's kind of called a Caribbean blue, but if you're building a uniform,
Yeah.
it's more of a light blue Carolina blue. So our main colors are more of the blue and the gray, and then I'm trying to weave in the light blue here and there.
Cool. Very cool.
Yes.
And who designs the uniforms?
I designed most of the fall uniforms, and
Okay.
when I got a coach, I said, your uniforms are set. I'm allowing the winter coaches to take a look, and I've showed them what I had done previously, given them examples, and said, here, go ahead. I just need it by next date. Excuse me. So that's where I think they're having some fun as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of pressure, building
yeah,
uniforms
you
without the coach there. I can tell you
That's
that.
right.
It's a big deal now.
It is a big deal. You want to build it so the kids like the uniforms, and so it's fun. A lot of these sites have now you just go in and build your own, so to
Right.
speak. Yes.
Well, what's next in your process? You have 4 months left. What's next in your process?
I really am going to start before the end of July, I really want to order almost anything and everything else I need to order. So when July comes around, I'm not really messing around with the training room supplies and things that you really don't think about. Now, I want to say this. I do want to give a plug out to Brad Qualls, the AD at Patriot High School, because when they opened Patriot, he kept everything.
Yeah.
So it's been a joy to be able to look and see what they ordered and kind of work off that platform, so to speak.
Yeah.
So my goal is, and just the last 2 days, we're working with the training room exclusively, trying to work with different vendors there, and it's a lot. When I received the binder, and the binder is about yay thick of the things that had to be ordered, and it is a process, but I'm glad I have the coaches now, and we go over everything, and I'm going to start ordering pronto now, because nothing will get delivered until about the second week of July to the school. When the second week of July hits, things are going to be flying into the school, and going to be places for it. So that's next, and of course we're still working on our football coach. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to, get back to you guys on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been great. I know you're busy. Thanks for coming down and talking to
No
us.
problem.
And we'll look forward to, as we get closer to opening school, interviewing again and kind of getting more into the coaches, all the coaches. I'm sure that process has been interesting.
It was
A lot of
interesting,
different ways.
and I'll say that the one last thing I'll say is that community excitement when we would post our new coaches up on the website, the feedback that I would get saying, "Oh my gosh, look who they got," or "Look who's there." I mean, that that was kind of a ripple effect through the community as well. So thanks for having me.
Thanks.
This has been great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
David Huckestein, Mr. Huck, is that what they call you?
Mr. Huck.
Mr. Huck.
That's fine.
All right. I'm John Moore. This is Rob. You can see us on RebelRunSports.com and on DMVSTREAM.com on the Prep Zone. We'll see you next week.